Hi, my power towers around the world. Here's part 2 of our Skype date session on emotions and feelings. And in this part, we talk about why we need to identify our emotions and feelings, why that is important, and how to do it, and whether emotions, feelings do become habits and addictions.
So, why should we identify our emotions? The biggest question here, I was listening to Joe Dispenza's talk today, and he said, you can choose to transform in good times, or you can choose to transform in time of crisis. It's your choice. Doing it in a good time gives you a chance to understand it more deeply. Doing it through a crisis, when the crisis is going on and your focus is on the crisis, transformation then becomes a little more challenging. And whatever we learn here, whatever we're discussing about emotions, whatever we're learning about emotions, this is impacting the biology of our body. It's directly impacting the biology of our body. And this is why this is so important. Research is documenting repeatedly that our emotions are very important and impacting our body at all times. Now, in this talk with Joe Dispenza, he shared that those people who actually just gain knowledge, they're just reading a lot, they're just gaining knowledge and not doing anything about it. Research is showing that this does not affect their longevity. But those who are actually gaining knowledge and practicing it, this is positively impacting their longevity. So many of you know, you come from groups where I have been active, and you know that I am not a fan of read-only groups. I want people to act upon what they're learning, act upon what you are reading, not only reading. That's not gaining you anything, but just gathering. That's just information gathered in your mind. It's not impacting. It's collecting in your brain. It's not impacting the rest of your body. So once you start understanding your emotions, you understand how we program our body, because it's through these emotions that we're impacting our results. It's through emotions we are manifesting. It's through emotions we are programming ourselves. And always remember, those of you who are focused on manifestations, we are manifesting 24/7, 365 days a year. We're manifesting all the time. So the more you have clarity around your emotions, the more clarity there will be around your manifestations. And our feelings are an inbuilt feedback system. They are an inbuilt navigation system. So what happens is, and I'll be clarifying this when we talk, when we refer to the GPS, when anything happens, our emotions are telling us something. What we need to identify is what my emotions are telling me, and this is something only you can answer. I can only guide you into that, but I cannot answer, give you the answer for what your emotions are telling you. Deep within, you have your answers. With clarifying emotions, with understanding your emotions, you are becoming more efficient. You're becoming more effective. You are, with clarity, fueling every aspect of your life. And once you start doing this daily, you'll see how, as soon as a situation happens, a person connects with you, or something or the other happens, the more clarity you have, you'll quickly understand, you'll quickly figure out, this is how it's impacting me, this is not what I need to do. You won't get lost in the confusion, you won't get lost in the mess. Now, I have shared a photo here last time with a magnet, law of attraction magnet. I don't know if you guys remember it. And whatever you're thinking, it transforms into feelings, and whatever you're feeling attracts whatever comes into your life. So by viewing your life, your outer world, one can define what kind of thoughts, what kind of feelings you have within. And that photo is very powerful because it shows us how negativity and positivity are just attracting powers. They're just powers. We use these words very openly and pompously, you know, everywhere. We're just labeling things as positive and negative. But these are powers, right? It's not. It's about what is wanted and what is unwanted. Positive is the wanted. Negative is the unwanted. Now, if you remember the first example I used with those three people, now if you are fueled with positive emotions, and you've dealt with your baggage, your heavy baggage from your past, then you're the third person who has the skates on and does not carry any baggage. And just imagine how fast you will move through your path, having those skates and being totally without any extra luggage, any extra baggage, right? So you'll be the one moving fast. And this is why it's so important to understand your emotions, because you're fueling yourself with them. So over to our GPS. Now, most of us are actually unaware of our feelings being our GPS. We're unaware of its function, we're unaware of its existence. And the human default setting is happiness. We are set uh, uh, like in a GPS, you know, you program it to that home is a certain address, right? That default setting in our GPS, which are our emotions, is our happiness. Now, you'll never see a baby who loves crying. Babies in the natural state are always happy, right? So this is our default setting as humans. And since birth, we are motivated towards happiness. We love sugar because it triggers the happy hormones in our body, right? And what happens is whenever we derail from this, from our path towards happiness, our emotions are telling us something. They're giving us a feedback, and reporting to us that, you know, you've diverted from your path towards happiness. It's alarming you. It's reporting to you. And what do? We ignore it and we continue ahead. Okay. And the most important thing here then becomes that you have to identify what's disturbing you. Now, a very typical example here is jobs, right? Many of us, we are unhappy with our job, but we don't know why, right? We don't go into why we are unhappy. Now, if you start dissecting it, when you start to understand, identify why you're not happy with your job, you'll gradually understand that, okay, it could be the people, right? If it's the people, then I can do something. I can mingle with different type of people. Is it the job tasks I don't like, right? Then I need a new job. Is it where my desk or my office is situated? Then I need to change that. When you identify what's wrong, your default setting, your setting towards happiness is always going to guide you towards solutions that are going to make you happier. But the problem is when we don't have clarity with our emotions, we don't know what our happiness is, and we don't know how to get there. We don't know what's going on. We're not identifying our challenges or our problems, and we don't know how to get to our happy place. So once you start following your inner GPS, your inner guidance system, this will help you avoid situations that are making you unhappy, avoid situations that are disturbing your emotional balance, avoid people or situations that do the same. And this makes you so much more powerful, so much more focused and in tune with where you want to be. You're not a boat that's just drifting around in the ocean. And most importantly, this EGS is giving you knowledge on how to use this inbuilt GPS. Using the EGS guides you into how to you are using efficiently and effectively your GPS. Any questions? Because last time I got some feedback that the first part of the session was a little difficult to understand. So I've tried to simplify this, but all in all, the more it's repeated, the more we're going to be understanding about it. And understanding emotions is fundamental for any practice you're doing. If your emotions are messed up, everything else will be messed up. Thanks for the thumbs up. I don't know who sent it, but thanks. And the more you're understanding your emotions, that is the foundation for everything you do. Nothing is going to have an impact on you unless you've understood your emotions. And I'll give you another example to this a little later on how this works. Now, moving on to the 10% plus 90%. Now, when we enter a situation, let's say the situation is 100%, okay? 10% of that situation are the facts which the brain registers. The remaining 90% are the labels we attach to the situation, labels we attach to the person. And these labels are either coming from our feelings or from our mind with past experiences, memories, etc., right? And these are linked with emotions. And when this is combined, we think that the situation that has occurred is either positive or negative, which basically is neither of the two. It basically just is 10% facts. And we choose what labels to attach to it. And depending on the labels we attach to it, we will react accordingly, right? If you've got wanted labels attached to it, positive labels, you're going to react positively. You cannot have negative thoughts and react positively. We all understand that's not possible. So, and this explains to us how negativity and positivity in people and around arises. Because when we have a tendency to label situations in certain ways, being triggered by certain emotions and certain memories or experiences, we tend to always classify situations in a certain manner. This is the programming we're talking about. And you see how all of this is linked. So then how do emotions end up as habits or addictions? What research is showing is that all of our experiences, our thoughts, they create neural pathways in our brains. And the more frequently these pathways are used, the more they become a habit. You've probably heard how is it? Those wired together, fire together. Nerves wired together, fire together, right? So any pathway, any line of thoughts you are regularly thinking becomes a habit, becomes a belief. Now, for example, just recently, someone shared with me this story. And in this story, they share with me that I experienced a feeling of rejection.